operational cost. And when you have more losses than profits, and you've had that consistently for about a year or two, every rational business will think that it's time to close up shop. So I think that just looking at that factor of multiple taxes, increase in running costs, issues with foreign exchange, there's also been issues around lack of support sectors. So for GSK, right, the pharmaceutical company, they mentioned that they have to source most of their raw materials from out of the country.
All right.
So we don't have smaller organizations that even provide the basic things that they need to make up their drugs and the end product, the medicine, the tablets, and all these things. So they have to source everything. And because you just mentioned foreign exchange, right, sourcing that into the country and going through the entire custom clearing, I don't know if anyone has done the custom process, just the process of bringing anything into the country because of the increased VAT and all the increased charges becomes higher and higher every year. And I'm sure the just looked at it and just said, you know what, it makes no sense to keep running the business probably at a loss, and continue to do that every year, and just doesn't make any sense. So yeah, so I think it's a salad of reasons as to why they're leaving. It's really sad because we've complained about unemployment for a while, and it doesn't look like anything is being done tangibly to reduce it. And so when you're now losing the jobs you already have, and then the president's team was saying one of the reasons bringing people to Dubai was to go look for investment.
Yeah.
And if you can't keep the investment you currently have in your own country, how do you encourage people who are out there to come in and invest, and establish new companies and new industries when the people that are currently in the country are already going out? So I think that just the myriad of issues that we are going to.
All right. Do you think the companies were hasty? Because especially the companies that have left, in 2023, our refineries are set to come on stream latest January 2024. There is Dangote coming on. We'll get the first batch of products 2024, according to reports, by the way. And, one thing that has also brought about the economic situation in the country, is the removal of subsidy. It means that there will be some level of stabilization if the refineries work. Could that have also solved the FX problem and maybe help these companies who were bleeding and suffering economically? Do you think they were hasty in their conclusion?
I don't think so. I most of the companies have very well economists are giving them, the best advice, right? I don't think that refineries solve our economic challenges, to be honest. I think that if we base our whole revenue source from just oil, with the oil market going up and down, post-COVID, we would always have this kind of shaky moments where even if you have people that are even meeting local consumption, you're not exporting enough, really, right? So it makes you still struggle with it. So I think that we need to actually begin to look at, we've said it for so long, a diverse economy.
All right.
We want to open an investment portfolio. What are the other things that we can make for the world? I think this is the time to ask that question.
So this is the time for us to look inwards, yeah?
And yes, look inward. And as respective states, even River State, Bayelsa, all of the states, to begin to ask themselves, what can we make for the world? And how can we begin to build the businesses and support the businesses and, create the skills that would help to facilitate this? And, Nigeria is so blessed that all of our states have something unique. All of them, if you look at our, investment, our endowment map, we have so many things, a lot of things, right, across the 6 states. But how are we even looking at that? Everyone just gets too comfortable with oil and just says that it has to be oil. And I think that's what kept us entertaining us of struggling with that foreign exchange.
Do you think, like you mentioned, the president is hustling to get foreign investors into the country because that's one way, to get revenue, investments. People leaving, is it the bad publicity? Is it going to hamper, further investment, in your opinion? How do you judge that?
Sure, that's a good question. I think it does send a lot of, because all of these multinationals and conglomerates know themselves. They're either competitors or they're in the same forums, either the World Economic Forum or serious forums, right? So it's bad publicity. But I think in addition to just bad publicity, I feel like the president, body language,
Mm.
most of the spending language, especially if you look at the budget, the issues that came up about the budget, there's no kind of prudence from the way we are allocating funds. People are not showing that we really are in an economic challenge, and that leaders actually are planning to say, okay, if I would spend 10 billion before, now I should spend 1 billion or 2 billion because of what we're going through. Instead, we are seeing a situation where the budget for the chief of staff office has gone higher. We're planning to use for 15 billion naira. The president, when he was in New York, spent in 5 nights $100,000 a night. I'm sure celebrities in Hollywood spend $100,000 a night on hotels, right? So we are spending that. So all of that is also adding to the body language. And if you're saying that you're looking for aid and support, but you're spending more than the people you're going to beg money from, it doesn't make any sense to people, right? So I think it's not just the multinationals alone living that, passing that message. I think even the body language and the spending language, when you're spending, is also passing a bad message.
Now, as founder of Policy Shapers, if you were to advise the president, what would that advice be? I mean, how do we stem the tide? How do we get them to come back if that channel is open? And how do we get new investors to believe? Because, I mean, you just don't take millions of dollars or millions of any currency and just throw away into investments. You want to be sure, as a businessman, that you make profits. So, I mean, this is a serious question. How do you think the president can get them to invest, those who have left and those who are intending to come?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's already late if we haven't even engaged most of them. But I think one of the first things is to work through the Investment Promotion Council, the private sector.
Okay.
There's an economic stuff. There are all of these forums where private sector is able to engage directly with government. So engage them and even find out what's. I feel it would be wrong if we've never spoken to the folks who have left already to learn and understand why they've left from them directly. But find out why, and for the people that are still in the country, try to understand what are the quick blockades that they're facing that we can help remove. For some it could just be that they've had elongated challenges with importing, right? So a short-term solution would be to, first of all, remove all of those quick blockades that they're facing, those challenges that they're having, just make it easier for them. Sort of, sweeten the pot and make sure things are easier so that they can even stay, because it's 15 in the past 2 years. Who says more are not going to join? Because usually it becomes a trend. So just making sure that we can remove those quick blockades. Then I think a more medium-term, long-term thing would be to actually walk the talk of making Nigeria become diversified. To actually charge state government. And I think this is begin to look beyond oil. The oil economy and everything around COP28. And just seeing how the oil market is.
All right.
It's not reliable. The world is moving on. So how do we ensure that we can make and then diversify our economy and begin to produce products and services and things that the world will definitely need? I think that's something I should look at for the long term.
This scares me, and that's why I've chosen it as a topic, despite the political drama happening in Rivers State. And I'll tell you why. Growing up in Rivers State, Transformati used to be full of industries. We had Pojo in Nigeria assembling cars. We also had I wonder how to pronounce it. Is it Volkswagen or Volkswagen?
Volkswagen,
something like that. We had them also assembling in Nigeria. But you see, when these companies left, a lot of us they left, and so I mean it's not a big deal. But if you've seen how our economy has fared ever since then, it's been on a decline. So this is really important that we look into this, and yet I'm wondering, what can these states do? We've got a commercial break. So after the commercial break, I'll come back and I'll show statistics as to how much foreign direct investments came into the various states, and you will be shocked. You will be shocked. I'll be right back. Do stay tuned, and please. I've been speaking with Ebenezer Wikina, founder, Policy Shapers, and he'll still be with me after the commercial break. Stay tuned to 92.3 Nigeria Info. 90.3 Nigeria Info. I am Kala Dakuru Batabo, and this is Hard Facts. I have Ebenezer Weekend over the phone. He is the founder, Policy Shapers, and we are looking at the report that about 15 multinational companies or even more have left the shores of Nigeria, and some of them are running an import-only structure. And according to that report, that has cost the country about 20,000 or more jobs. So, I mean, we already have a silly situation when it comes to unemployment. I mean, the statistics are not friendly. And now we have this new report where over 20,000 or more people have now been left jobless. Now, we've been looking at the factors as to why this is happening and what the government can do to stem the tide. However, when we talk, we usually focus just on the national. Now, I had to do a good Googling, a good one, and I realized that the states in 2023 this year, only few states attracted FDIs, that's foreign direct investments. Only few. 28 states were ignored by foreign investors, including River State. Now, according to the statistics, only Lagos, FCT, Ogun State, Akwa Ibom State, Adamawa, Anambra, I'm looking for the remaining ones, Niger and Ondo State had investors coming in 2023. River State was not part of it, and I'm not surprised because we are always in the news for one political drama or the other. The total amount that was invested in 2023 fell by 30% when you compare it to the previous year, and it was $2.16 billion. Can I say that's a mega amount given our economic situation in the country? But what do you make of this report? 28 states ignored by foreign investors. Is it that the state governments are not thinking? Is it that they're not creative? Is it that our country really is not conducive enough for investors? What's the problem?
Yeah, no, I don't think that, just as you said, most times state governments sort of hide under the national criticism, right? Most times everyone talks about the president and the presidency and what's happening at the national level. But we tend to often forget the state level, policymakers who also have a huge responsibility, to secure lives and property in their states. They're giving security votes, right? They receive huge sums of money to ensure that is done. And they also provide jobs, right? So everyone usually just focuses a lot on the national, and the presidential elections and all of that balls. And for this, the people who they should be holding responsible are those closest to them. The local government chairpersons, the ward people close to them, the state government. And I think that if we would be able to navigate at all through this maze of, multinational states, all the challenges we're having currently with our economy, the states really need to come up, right? The states, especially states like River State, states in the south who get a lot of money in monthly allocations, and you don't see a lot of that money on the lives of people. You don't see, you can't physically see it used for development, right? If we would definitely come out of those kind of states like Horse Rivers, Delta, Bayelsa, all of the states really need to step up, really need to begin to start thinking of ways where, we should be competing, like other, if you go to the UAE, right? We should be competing with folks like Abu Dhabi, and like Dubai. These are states in the country, right? This is not a country. Dubai is not a country, it's a state. We should be competing with states like that. Because of the resources bad, the amount of time we've had these resources, our population, the fact that we even have better air, we have a lot more, favorable climate. We have just so much. There's so much feeling that we should be better, But we have our politicians traveling to these states and these countries in these deserts, and are happy to be there. Without seeing the message that how come you can't do something like this back home? What's keeping us from building our things to become like this? This vision, being able to have vision and being able to ensure that we pull resources, cut away excesses, and invest in sectors and things that bring people, make people life better. Just make the state attractive. If people come to Nigeria, the first thing you think of is Lagos, right? Because Lagos doesn't seem attractive for investment. It's like there's an economy there. There's someone like support, right? There's sort of like the business community that will help to pull you in. But if you come to River State, do you see all of that? I know that there's a Chamber of Commerce that's done quite a bit of work on investment promotion, and there's a lot of talk around tourism as well. There's so many sectors: agriculture, aquaculture. Like the sectors that I just feel this emphasis on oil. Sometimes I feel like oil can be a cost for us, because like this whole emphasis on just oil and everything of the oil, and if it's not oil, no one wants to do anything else. Just makes us feel like we cannot be anything else, but we can be way, way better. We can have a way stronger economy as the state, and we can even get jobs to be able to employ people within the state. And I think that's one of the biggest issues.
All right. Now, Akwa Ibom got $39.1 million investment out of the $2.11 billion investment. That means Akwa Ibom is doing something different. What can we copy? What can we emulate? Because this is the second year in a row that we didn't get a foreign direct investment. And yes, we might boast of being the second highest when it comes to internally generated revenue. That will mean that we are focusing on taxes and the non-formal community, for funds. So what can we learn? What can we emulate? What can we copy from these other states so we can get investment? And like you've said, stop depending on 13% derivation fund or oil generally, because the world is looking at alternatives now.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that would always be an indicator for if businesses will come to the States is security. Like over the past couple of months this year, insecurity has been on the rise in pockets, right? And it's almost like, because it's not a big, huge problem yet, most people are not looking at it. Cars are being snatched, people who even do both. I'm sure you must have had this conversation a couple of times. Are either attacked and killed, and their cars are taken. And it's been recurring over and over again, right? So if we're not even able to address something as, in quote, little, as just our internal security, we wouldn't be able, especially because of the previous, bad narrative we've had around militancy and the uprising and everything. People often just assume, I have colleagues who come to the country who just assume that the state is not safe. Just for no reason. They've heard the stories in the past, and then now you're having these things happening currently. Being snatched and people are being hurt. People who even have small businesses are being attacked and their shops are boggled and everything. If we can't even, do this neighborhood smaller challenges, how do we get these big organizations to be able to come down and invest? So if you go to Uyo, I'm not going to be able to take us in the country, right? But relatively, you feel a bit more serene, like he has this calmness. But then when you're in the city of Uyo versus what you're beginning to see now across our own city. Right? So I think even just addressing security first would be one of the major issues that we should definitely look at. Also, the issue of multiple taxation that I mentioned earlier, right? I think that especially informal businesses or businesses who are like on roadside, the MSMEs who are just like using the bill to FMCG, they are struggling a lot to taxes. And I don't know why we haven't had a way to digitize the taxation process where you don't just have some group of boys in the bus jump in someone's shop and take everything and say that they must pay a particular amount of money. We need to find a way to harmonize the taxes such that, there are some businesses that we can even give tax breaks in certain sectors as a way to support them.
Right.
There's technology, there's even their startups, there are technology companies that have risen from the states that have struggled. Some have even moved out of the states to Lagos as a way to go and support themselves because they've not got that much support from the state government. So just being able to look into these various sectors and supporting them, I think, and making the business environment more conducive, I think is a good way to sort of encourage more foreign direct investment.
All right. Thank you very much. So I would open the phone line so we can get some thoughts. Sure. I have more questions for you, like policy direction of the state. What is your take on that? Maybe I just allow you to think on that one. I have many other questions relating to the economy of the state. But first, let's listen to some of our listeners and let's hear their thoughts and their opinions on this one. 0817-923-0002 is the first call number. The second call number is 0817-923-0003. Now, maybe I should run through the statistics yet again. There is a decline in the number of foreign investments coming into the country. According to statistics from the Bureau of Statistics, NBS, it says that there was a 30% decline in foreign investments in the year 2023. And the first 6 or 9 months thereabout. And then there is also the talk about 15 multinationals leaving the shores of Nigeria in the space of 2 years, which means that about 20,000 or more, have lost their jobs. We already have an unemployment situation in the country. So when you look at all of these things, how do you think we can rejig the system? We can restructure? What would you be asking from government? Because the policies, I always tell you, the politics begets the policies that affect you and I. So let's talk for development. I've got Muriel. Muriel is calling from Okrika. Let's listen to Muriel. Muriel, welcome on the show.
Thank you, Calabar.
Yeah, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, afternoon.
You see, Calabar, I think it would be very unfair to use insecurity as an excuse in this case.
Okay.
So say it's because of insecurity that companies are not coming to this state as this state is, Calabar.
Okay. So
there is no state that doesn't have pockets of insecurity here and there, Calabar.
Okay.
There is no state that is so perfect that you say, okay, maybe 1 or 2 robberies, 7 things, and this thing. No. River State is peaceful.
So what's the problem?
Because of insecurity.
So what's the problem?
Do you know what I think? I think there are some forces in high places that are trying to stop River State from developing, from moving, and from trying to compete with Lagos State, honestly.
Okay.
That's what I think is playing out. Because this is one of the things that encourages people to come. You don't expect somebody to accompany here, then it goes back to Lagos, clear his book, come back here. That is insane. It's very tough problem. So our businesses to ensure that everything, especially the port, should be open. Everything that will encourage these people to come. We have oil here. This state is we have good roads, we have good road network. Everything is fine with this state.
Right.
It's just that there are forces that are stopping River State from going forward. Honestly, that's what I think.
All right, thank you very much, Muriel. Yeah, Muriel, thank you. I've got Emmanuel calling from Oibo. Oh my, I missed that one. Emmanuel do call back. But on Facebook, Matalaye Osaro says, any company or person setting up a business in Nigeria is wasting its time, funds and energy, multiple taxes, insecurity, lack of power supply, bad roads, and government policies on removing petrol subsidies affecting businesses in Nigeria. So why won't companies jackpot? Let's look at WhatsApp, and before we go back to the phone lines, this one says, the economic situation in Nigeria is not favoring the investors. Inflation and increase in running cost on a daily basis could be one of the reasons why investors are leaving the country. I want to tell Clinton West. This one says investment is a very sensitive variable in any economy. People won't put their money to a place that lacks rule of law, lacks power, insecurity, lack of good roads, political instability, I believe you meant to say. So without addressing these factors, no serious investor will come. Nobody will take the president serious wherever he goes. Toye with that one. I've got Kunle. Kunle is calling from Borokri. There's something wrong with the phone lines, I guess. But let's come back to you, Ebenezer. Someone said that there is the undue advantage given to Lagos State, and the person, Muriel, to be precise, made reference to the ports, that are shut down. You also mentioned that, sometimes when these companies try to import raw materials, it's really difficult. It becomes very expensive. Could it be because, the Lagos port is choked? The Apapa port, I believe that what it's called, is choked. And so it gets more expensive and it's time consuming. And all of these things, add to the cost of production. Could we then say that maybe if Port Harcourt Port on air, we have two, right? If we have the Port Harcourt port and on air port open, just maybe we would reduce the cost of some of these imported goods. I don't know if you agree.
No. To be honest, even though I don't agree with the person that it's okay to every time feel like there's an agenda against us, and our problems are external and not internal.
Okay.
I think that on that port issue, that's a very strong issue, and I think that this is one of the issues that leaders, national leaders from the south who are serving in like ministerial positions of their nationally should be advocating for. It's not just Port Harcourt. There's a port in Warri, there's a port in Calabar. I feel like for the cities that have ports, I'm not sure what the logistics of it is, and I know someone that's going to do sometime around, like would ships come to different ports for different things and everything. I mean, like there's conversation around. I'm not an expert on ports. However, I feel like if we do have a lot more ports open, maybe that would even reduce even the processing time for how people move goods into the country, right? Whether it's raw materials or whatever it is they're moving into the country. Because just seeing the gridlock in about all of the time, you can see the state government is trying to find so many things. As you know, they are trying to build more roads, etc. But they still cannot solve it because you can't have almost everything in the country or everything in the country coming through one single entry point. It doesn't make any sense, right? So I actually think on that port issue, the person does have a very strong point. And I think that's something that, national leaders from the south, should be advocating for, because that's we have our borders are rivers, basically, right? We're bordering the ocean, we're bordering rivers. Why can't we have things coming through these ports, so Port Harcourt and Delta and Calabar as well? So that's a good point.
All right, so let's go back to the phone lines. Hopefully the phone lines are working, because I can see it beeping. Hopefully we can get the callers to talk. 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp 0809-030-6416. So while I'm waiting for the call screener to take down your name and your location, this one says, how do we have direct foreign investment when we are busy dragging structure? And who will be Assembly Speaker? Americana from Ogbakri is asking. I mean, you have a good question there. but I've got. Sorry, what did you say?
No, I said that's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point indeed.
Look stable. If you don't look stable, there's no stability, political stability. How do we even get the investment in?
All right. Yeah. So let's take a listen to Kunle from Borough Creek. Kunle, welcome. What is on your mind, please?
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Please, can you tell me, throughout the 8 years of the past administration, what single effort that administration made to bring investors into Rivers State, other than playing politics and playing on the minds of the people? Now, somebody will talk about infrastructures. We are all aware. Let's not be deceiving ourselves.
Right.
But the truth is that today, many people have come to see what some of us have been saying and been talking about. That regime only played on the minds of people, just for the interest of one man. Nothing in particular was done to really bring investors. And that's why the new man, the new governor, you see that he's not talking about bringing agricultural projects to Rivers State and all that. These are the things we are talking about. A man just said he's doing infrastructure that are all centered on his own interest, what he wants to get, play politics here and there. So it is not just about insecurity. The man didn't really have the interest of Rivers State at heart. It is all about him. And that's why the youth today, everybody is saying, a man now who is in the saddle, Governor Fubara, who is not thinking in terms of investment, should be allowed.
All right.
And okay.
No, I was agreeing to what you're saying. It should be allowed. Okay. Yeah. So summarize, please.
And that brings me to one thing that is going on in Rivers State that is so annoying.
Okay.
People will be saying the minister for FCT should allow. What do they mean by should allow? Who is it to allow? What are we there for, we people?
All right.
What are we there for that we always be saying the minister should allow? It's annoying. That statement is annoying.
All right then.
We need to rise up. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Kunle. I've got Eze Ken from Ubumini. Eze Ken, welcome. What is on your mind, please?
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you.
Greetings to your guest, friends.
All right, welcome.
Canada, last year and this year, no foreign investor in River State, right?
Yes, so he says.
Yes. I'm not surprised because of the focus of the past governor, who always concentrated on the oil money, the allocation from federal, without knowing that foreign investors, even local investors, an indigenous investor that come to River State can still give us revenue.
All right.
To upgrade the revenue of the state. So how will he invite or call foreign investors to come to River State while he is already contented with what he is having from Abuja? That is number one. Number two.
All right. Ezekiel, we don't have time for number two, but we get your point. But thank you very much. Quickly, Ebenezer Wikina, I beg your pardon. We have 1 minute, 30 seconds to wrap up this conversation. And the last 2 to 3 callers have targeted the policy direction of River State over the years. You are a policy shaper. What would you say of the policy direction? Please, in few words. Let's get your thoughts.
Yes, no, I mean, they're 100% spot on. I actually think that what we saw in the previous administration was a single-pronged policy, right? Which was always focused on building roads and building roads and building more roads. Every 2-3 months, there was always commissioning a road. Now, road projects are not bad, but for human development to happen and for social development to happen, you need to have a multi-sectoral approach. And we've had administrations in the past that are able to look at how development can happen from a multi-sectoral approach. The people who have been able to build roads, but also focus on agriculture, and they set up, tourism, potential companies, and they open way for education and these scholarship programs. So I just think, for this current governor, he shouldn't get into the groove of being a single sector, focus. He should be able to make it multi-sector. I think that there are so many factors that affect people's lives, and if you want to really make sure that your government, blesses that helps people's lives, it needs to be able to address all the sectors like healthcare and education, in addition to. Yeah.
All right, we've got to go. Thank you very much, Ebenezer Wikina, founder, Policy Shapers.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, well. Start your day and have a good time. Kivo Creamer. Even when you need to clear your eyes. Kivo Creamer. When you need to have the break time. Kivo Creamer. It's not tea, but for Garita. Kivo Creamer. Kivo Creamer. Kivo Creamer. Kivo Creamer.
Good time moments with Kivo Creamer.
Kivo Creamer. If not tea, but for Garita. Kivo Creamer.
It's